Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of WossyRadio, and today I'm kind of happy about this, because I'm joined by the lovely David Hochmann, and we're going to break down the Dragon Gym Challenge, and he's going to show us some swag. Hey, David.
Hi, yeah, this is the first time I heard your intro live without someone else actually saying it, so it's very exciting. Yeah, so the tournament was very interesting from my point of view. So the thing is, the format was interesting because it was new. The format itself, like the best thing about it was that it was like out of the blue and everyone just had a very short time to prepare. And of course, everyone was limited by the type they had to use. And everyone got a random type and I got darkness. And the first thing I thought when I heard it was that there are very few darkness Pokemon actually in the format because they're always, and this will probably change now since poison Pokemon are also dark now, but usually there were only a very few amount of darkness Pokemon.
In terms of physical number, you did actually get literally fewer options than other people.
Yeah, and also there were some Pokemon that I couldn't play at all, like Tyranitar, for example, because the basic Pokemon are not darkness. And
oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Angaro. So I had like I filtered through just all darkness Pokemon, and there were still some darkness Pokemon left, which were all like, I can't play this. I was really lucky that Umbreon is actually still playable because he is a colorless Pokemon. Yeah, so like I said, the best thing about it was that no one really knew anything about the format, and we didn't have so much time to prepare. So it was like the first time for everyone. And I don't know how well everyone else prepared. I know Joe did a video about it, explaining what he expected the format to look like. And I just thought about, like, when you build, I built my deck just without considering any other deck at all. And then I looked at all the other types and was like, oh yeah, this type will probably play this strategy. This type will probably play this strategy. So I will just explain really quick my list and how I came to the list.
One thing I find very interesting, you and Joe were the two... Now, I don't know if the others did. The others might have done. But you and Joe were the two people who told me that you actually sat down and tried to predict what all of the other 7 players would play and then start metagaming. And I find it really interesting that you two are the dudes that made the final after doing like a full-on metagame analysis.
Yeah, so like at the very start, I thought there were 2 ways I could play this out. One is I play like a stall deck or control deck, or like a mill deck, and then because the resources are very limited, so just like getting rid of a few resources always hurts the opponent a lot more than in a normal game because you can only play 2 of everything. But also the control deck is also limited by the same rules, so you can like only play 2 Crushing Hammer, and then only 2 Oranguru. There is like a Honchkrow, which I was thinking about playing, and then I thought about it, and I was like, well, I don't know what anyone plays, and the big advantage control decks usually have is that you know the meta game, and then you can always like think about like just strategize. There was no meta game; it was completely new, so I thought it was kind of a risk. So I went with something that was already, like it used to be meta deck, Umbreon Spiritomb. So the first thing, like where I started was Umbreon Spiritomb. Yeah. I think most people would just like go in and then go just for Obstagoon, because Obstagoon is currently a strong meta card. But I didn't think there was so much like just basic Pokemon. When I did my very first list, I was like, yeah, probably a lot of stage 2s. They have so much HP now, and all the Pokemon V and GX were banned, so I didn't think there was so much basic Pokemon in the format. So I was just like, yeah, I'll throw Umbreon Spiritomb in there and then some stuff to make it run well.
If I remember correctly, it was only really Josh's Psychic deck with Giratina and Joe's Fighting deck with a Hitmonlee. I think they were the only 2 like basic decks that we had.
Yeah, like Pablo played Magnezone, but he basically also played a basic deck.
Oh yes, you're right. He did. He played Magnezone Circuitry.
Yeah. So I just built like my first list. I don't have that one still. And I only played Black Market Prison Star, no other stadiums. I didn't play B-String. I didn't play Energy Retrieval. I just had like I played a lot more supporter cards, which is also something that I would probably play more. Like I would try to get more consistency in the deck. Not really sure what I would cut though, because that was one of the big problems. However, I looked at the other strategies. Then I expected Grass to play Rillaboom. I expected Water to play Frostmoth. But I'm pretty sure everyone expected Water to play Frostmoth.
We did.
How that turned out, we'll see. Yeah, then I wasn't really sure of Fire because I thought you could play Cinderace with Blacephalon, because Blacephalon needs a lot of energy cards, but then you just discard them all, and then with Cinderace in the late game you can just come back. Then for Metal I had no idea, so I was just like, yeah, probably something bulky with the not Frying Pan but Goggles.
Yes.
Because Goggles is just like Big Charm but better. Fighting obviously Hitmons. And for Lightning I wasn't really sure either. You could either play Nuzzle or Magnezone, but I didn't think Magnezone would work too well because it needs so much energy and so much draw to really run. And I just looked at the other cards. I didn't really build any other deck for a different type. What else is there? Malama, of course. So there was some, like especially Malama and Hitmontop. I thought, well, I don't really think there is a reason for them to run any like stage 1s or stage 2s. Like I expected both of them to predict that Obstagoon is probably something you can't win against, so they would do something against it. But then I tried to go a little bit more on Obstagoon. The Weavile was something I thought would be pretty nice, and then I thought, okay, so most decks play a lot of, like not a lot of, but all the good strategies have at least some abilities, like Water, no matter what you go for, you play a lot of abilities, and Fire, there are probably a lot of abilities because of Ninetales and Salazzle. So I thought, okay, like 2 Ninetales is probably too much, but 1 Ninetales is definitely strong. And then I considered just not playing Sneasel, but because I expected that ability decks were probably fine, that like a 1/1 Sneasel would be good because I can recover it with Ordinary Rod. So when I bench like 1 Sneasel, 1 Ditto, I can use 2 Sneasel. Everyone played around it, so the Sneasel wasn't that impactful, but it's just like it's always there, and just the existence makes your opponent try to play around it, which is an advantage for you. So it was definitely something worth playing. And also the Sneasel was just always a reminder for the opponent that I even played Weavile. The deck was a little bit like, my second version was a little bit more heavy on Obstagoon. I really wanted to use Darkrai and Guzzlord because they're just basic Pokemon you can drop and they're very bulky. Like all the Pokemon in the deck, like Obstagoon is pretty bulky, but it's a stage 2 and it doesn't deal that much damage. And then everything else basically gets one-hit knocked out by everything. Like, I mean, Spiritomb gets knocked out. Like, when you attack with Spiritomb, you have like 20 HP left. You just get knocked out. So I wanted to have like a big basic Pokemon you could use. So, yeah, Darkrai, of course. 160 HP, deals 120 damage. And you can charge it with the ability.
I mean, going back to the Weavile thing, one of the really cool things about your deck is that you're constantly making your opponent play around you. Like, you talk about the Weavile, your opponent is trying to not use abilities to avoid the Weavile, but then they're not using abilities that they want to use to try and... I make this point all the time. Whenever your opponent is deliberately not doing something they want to do to try and stop your strategy, that is definitely a win for you.
Yeah, Weavile also forces the opponent to waste their Ditto very often because they just like they play the Ditto at the beginning because they know, okay, I can choose my stage 1, but often you just have to evolve it into whatever's in your hand at that time because if you don't evolve it, then the Weavile can deal 150 like turn 2.
Yep.
And that's pretty nice. And it also like if you have like 2 Cinccino, I didn't really know how much like what kind of consistency everyone would go for, but I thought like Cinccino and I always mix up Pidgey and Pidgeotto, but it's Pidgey, right? The stage 1?
The stage 1 is Pidgeotto.
Pidgeotto? Okay, well, so I expected just that, so Weavile can kind of like block them, and if they go like all in on their consistency, Then I have 2 ordinary rods, and if everything goes well, I can attack with reroll like 3 times.
Nice.
Yeah, then the next thing I really wanted to make work was Darkrai and Guzzlord. And at the very first list, because I was like focusing on Spiritomb, I also played 2 Rainbow Energy. But they kind of don't really work well with Darkrai and Guzzlord because you run out of energy quite fast. Like you can never use 2 in one game because they need 4 energy each and you only play 9. So it's basically impossible to use both of them in one game. But I didn't want to commit like I could have played 2 Guzzlords and 2 Beast Rings. Probably would have not been a bad call in retrospect, but I really wanted to just have the option for both because like they're both like very different. Darkrai you can play down Darkrai at any time of the game. The Guzzlord needs to be charged in the Beast Ring turn, so your opponent gets like 2 turns to play your Beast Ring, and that turn you have to charge Guzzlord. You can't use it earlier and you can't use it later. So I wanted to have both. And the best way to get them in play is to use Beast Ring with Guzzlord and then Energy Retrieval with Darkrai. So Energy Retrieval is just always 2 energy that you have. And with Rosa, so the plan behind Darkrai was something gets knocked out, you can play Rosa, you get Energy Retrieval and Energy and Darkrai, you promote a doll, you can put down a Darkrai with 3 energy, and the next turn you can already attack with it.
Okay, that's pretty sweet.
That was at least the idea. It didn't really work out too well. Like I played down Darkrai I think 3 times, and all the time I just randomly drew into like 2 energy and had the Darkrai, so I didn't even really use that combo very often, but that was the original idea. And Lily's Pokédoll is just, I mean, in the format in general, it's pretty nice. I expected most people to play at maybe 1 or 2, depending on the strategy. I mean, for Hitmons, you have to play it.
Oh yeah.
And then for my deck, it's really nice because it gives me 1 extra turn that I can use to attach energy because I have no acceleration. So for Darkrai and Guzzlord, I can never charge them in 1 turn, but I can always use Lily's Pokédoll. And same for Obstagoon, it needs 2 energy. Like the Linool, I didn't even realize that at first. It has like a hit and run attack, so you can always get like 20 chip damage off if you have that in play and go for Lily. Yeah, but then Spiritomb, it's like Lily's Pokédoll is 1 extra turn to get 10 damage on Spiritomb, and it's a free knockout to trigger Umbreon's Retaliate. So Lily's Pokédoll is very good. Yeah, and then the last thing I added was Meowth. I just really wanted to play Meowth because so Alola Meowth is basically my favorite Pokemon. Like in general, not the card, but just like Pokemon-wise. So I really wanted to play that too because Spoil the Fun is also a very interesting attack. But it has a good synergy with the whole strategy because Meowth is really good against decks that play evolution cards. Because they always want to go first. So they will always let themselves go first. And then I can usually take a knockout on the very first Pokemon. Unless I start Darkrai or Guzzlord. So I just need the Meowth in my opening hand and an energy. Or a Quick Ball or Professor Elm, Communication. So I have a lot of outs for Meowth. And I just need to retreat and I always go up 1 prize card.
The Alola Meowth Persian combo, I have used that in so many decks. It's one of my favourite little kind of 2-card combos. I've won so many janky games.
The Meowth itself is not very good because like you can use a turn 1, you get an easy prize card, and then it deals 10 damage and just gets knocked out, so you didn't really do anything. But the existence of Persian applies even more pressure because your opponent then promotes like another basic Pokemon which evolves, so something that has less than 9 HP. And then they know, okay, next turn my active Pokemon will get knocked out, or I have to attach like an energy active without any reason, or I have to like retreat again into something that I can just sacrifice. So like having both of them in the deck applies a lot of pressure on stage 2 decks because if they start with one of the basic Pokemon that evolves, which was in the very first round again, Toby was pretty big. So he once he started with I think Ditto, and I just retreated, knocked it out. And then he had to promote something like a Grookey, and then it's like it has to attach an energy just because otherwise it will get knocked out.
See, that's what I was talking about with your deck. You're constantly making to make awkward decisions. The Lowland Persian is taking for 90 unless you start attaching energy. So like you say, you end up attaching energy where you don't want to just to try and stop a KO. Also, shout out to you and Toby, because what you're referencing there was the lost round 1, where you played Toby, but the recording didn't work. And you guys, bless you, you actually went and just redid the game and re-recorded it. Weirdly, 2 games out of the 7 had to be replayed and re-recorded this tournament.
Yeah, the problem wasn't like... The problem was that Toby accidentally deleted the file. Like what happened was we played like game 1, and then after like 2 or 3 turns, Toby was like, "Oh, my memory card doesn't have any space left, so I will just check if like until when we recorded." And our plan was like, it was just 1 turn. Like our plan was just to turn back the turn and play it again. And then when he was checking where we were, he accidentally deleted the file. And we were like, whatever. It was just,
So I was on a walk with my kids. I was out, like literally, I was in the middle of nowhere walking my 2 children. And then I get this random call on my phone, and it's you and Toby on a Discord call being like, "Ross, we deleted the footage." And I'm like, "What do you want me to do about it? I'm in the middle of a field, literally in the middle of a field."
Yeah, we were just thinking like maybe he thought about what would happen in the situation, and there's like a rule for it.
He did not.
Okay, but anyway, so like this is like the reason I played the Pokemon. The Chinchino was just for extra consistency. I always had Professor M in the list because it can grab Eevee and Spiritomb. And I can also grab Alola Meowth, and there is a Minccino which has 60, one with 70 HP. I think I'm the only one that played the 60 HP one because
you are.
I'm the only deck where Elm even makes any sense. In most decks it's not very nice, but because I played Elm and Meowth, I thought before the tournament I would always let my opponent go first. Unless I realize that they play like a basic heavy deck, and then I would think about it. So I let all my opponents go first, always. Because then when it's my first turn, I can use Meowth. I can also use Sneasel in theory if I happen to start with it, which I actually did once against Jack. And it was very relevant because it was also one of these like games like I can like not attach, or I can attach and then whatever. So yeah, but I can always grab Eevee and Spiritomb, get damage off, and also a Minccino depending on what I started with and how the situation looks like. So I really liked Yeah, the rest is kind of like the rest I think speaks for itself. Like 2 Ordinary Rod is really good because I don't have so many energy cards. And then I can reuse Weavile, I can reuse Zigzagoon. Like the 10 chip damage from Zigzagoon is very, very important for stuff like Guzzlord. And then the Reset Stamp is just nice because I can use Rosa for Reset Stamp. And I play Black Market, so in the late game, when I play down a Black Market, either I can see like, okay, my opponent probably doesn't have any energy left. So I can just play down the Black Market and then I win the game by that. So that's like one more thing the opponent always has to keep in mind. So the deck is really annoying to play against, I think, because there are so many things that can just like come out of nowhere and then basically just flip the game over. Like a Ditto evolving into Weavile, for example, or a Guzzlord just coming down, a Darkrai coming in, the Black Market being dropped. So your opponent always have to keep in mind, like, okay, my stadium cards. And then, like, even if they have a stadium, like, they always save their stadium. I can use Rosa for Reset Stamp, then use the Black Market. And if they don't draw into their thing, like, into their stadium that turn, then I can just swing the game, come back very easily with Spiritomb.
I played quite a lot of games with your deck because the Professor Cup had a similar format to us, except it wasn't type locked, and they also banned Prism Stars and Oranguru. So I did a bunch of testing with a couple of friends who were playing in the Professor Cup, and my favourite deck was basically your deck, but I added in a couple of extra Ultra Beasts, and I did put in some Rainbow Energy and some Aurora Energy just for the Ultra Beasts. Yeah. And I genuinely, I had you, as soon as I saw your deck list, I had you picked for the winner for this, because you've got an answer to everything. The only time your deck struggles is against, like, Jack's deck. If he gets something like a Cinderace, if your opponent gets a really high HP Pokemon like a Cinderace that can start one-hit KOing, before you're set up, the deck can struggle a little bit. I mean, even then, between Vitality Band, Zigzagoon, Obstagoon, you can ping little bits of damage, and then you've got Black Market to put the prize race in your favour, and you've You've got Guzzlord to put the prize race in your favour. So it's far, far from unwinnable. But I think the only time the deck struggles is against really high HP when they're one-hit KOing. But even then, it's doable.
The biggest problem against Jack's deck is when you don't draw pretty well at the beginning. And Jack's deck is so consistent. Like, he plays so much stuff. He has like the Celeste as well. It's like Jack's deck will always get basic setup, I think. But my
he gets
deck
the Arcanine every time. Like, turn 2 or 3, he's always got the Arcanine.
Yeah, like, my deck struggles a lot with just like opening hands, and I had this quite often as well during the tournament. So in retrospect, I would probably so the Vital Band is something. I thought about playing Big Charm. Big Charm can make like Spiritomb deal infinite amount of damage
yeah, it can.
if you have some time. But I thought Vital Band was just better because it can give you like this extra damage with Spiritomb to take a knockout on a big Pokemon, and then you always also have Zigzagoon on top of that. And then Vital Band with Guzzlord is pretty nice because you just need like one Zigzagoon, Vital Band, Guzzlord to basically one-hit knockout whatever you want. And then Guzzlord has 150 HP, so it's not very easy to come back to. And then, also I played Lysander Labs because I was actually afraid of opponents' big charms. Because my deck deals a lot of damage for very few energy, but it doesn't deal this like big one-hit number. So I thought a big charm is probably what I dislike the most. And Lysander Labs is, so I can't play, how's it called again? Chaotic Swell.
Yes.
Because when I have a Chaotic Swell in play, I can't play Black Market anymore. So that's why I went for Lysander Labs, because I thought it's the most annoying, like, it's one of the few stadiums that your opponent might want to kick just to get rid of it.
Yeah.
So like the other stadiums, they're like, they can just leave it in play and be like, well, whatever, I don't care. But Lysander Labs might interfere with like my opponent's strategy because it gets rid of like a balloon or escape board or a big charm. So I thought Lysander Labs is probably the most likely to be kicked just because my opponent needs to. And then I can use Black Market more efficiently. That's the reason why I actually went for Lysander Labs. And that's also the reason why I didn't go for Big Charm, because I thought, well, I want to bait my opponent like with the Lysander Lab. And when I play Big Charm, then it doesn't even make any sense. You can use Vital Band in all the turns where there's no Lysander Labs in play. So like especially at the beginning of the game, it's pretty nice. And then also maybe you can kick your own Lysander Labs as well.
I did fall into that trap once. I was like, why didn't I take the KO? I had exactly the right... And I'd worked it out, and I'd used Zigzagoon, and I'd left Lysander Labs in play, and I'd been counting Vitality Band.
So one card I had in the deck list, like I had 2 deck cards in the deck list that I thought were interesting, but at the end I thought, they're probably pretty bad. One was Dangerous Drill. So I don't think anyone... Like, I think there was one special energy card in the whole format. I thought with Dangerous Drill I can like get rid of a stadium card, like Chaotic Swell, for example. But I realized that this card is not very good. It is versatile in Standard, and it can do like a lot of things in Standard, like get rid of a Stealthy Hood, for example. But in this format there's not so many situations that you really want to use it, and my opponent will not play any stadium cards anyway. So it's not like I want to win the stadium war, I just want to like try to get my opponent to play one stadium card. If they played one stadium card at some point because they had to, then I'm already happy. But I don't really want to kick that. So it was I thought it would be a counter against Chaotic Swell because if my opponent plays Chaotic Swell, then I can use that and then play Black Market.
Yeah.
But in the end, like, it was completely pointless. And Nanu was something I thought was pretty cool, but it's a supporter card, and I already struggle with consistency. Yeah, so I didn't win for that. Yeah, so I actually have the other deck lists here as well.
Yes, you asked me for all the deck lists. I'm a little bit excited. Should we run through quite quickly, just kind of tell us your thoughts
really
on them?
Quick, like how afraid on scale I was to play.
Nice.
Yeah, so like, I mean, the Malama deck has no way to do anything against Obstagoon. Like, you can use 2 spell tags, which also doesn't work against me because I play the Lysander Labs. So like they would have to kick the Lysander Labs, and then they run out of stadiums, and I can use Black Market to win anyways. Like
Nice.
Blacephalon, like with spell text and Blacephalon, you can probably take one knockout on Obstagoon. And if you are and then maybe you're lucky and you get in like an early Giratina chip damage off. So in theory, you can take 2 knockouts on Obstagoon. But there's no way to play around an Obstagoon. So I just need to use Ditto Prism and 2 Zigzagoons. Like use one Obstagoon, shuffle it back with Ordinary Rod, and while I use the second Obstagoon, I can evolve the Ditto Prism into another one. So this deck basically can't really do anything against me.
No, this was Josh Marking's Psychic deck.
Yes, exactly. And I didn't know how Joe won against. He explained it to me later. Like he said he played the Farfetch just against spell tag.
The Farfetch, he put in work with a Farfetched.
Yeah, like Mio just destroys Joe's strategy against his deck. And then this deck, like they both have the same strategy, but Malamar is more consistent.
One of their games was absolutely nuts. Josh got the Mew, and Joe got rid of it. So Josh got the Mew back, and Joe got rid of it. And then Josh got the Mew. He plays one Mew. He got it into play 3 times, and Joe just kept kicking it. But there was one game where literally, I think it was game 1, Josh benched the Mew for the second time, and Joe immediately scooped. Was literally just like, yeah, I'm out. But he did. Like the entire game revolved around Mew entirely.
Yeah. Like we had like a gentleman's agreement to not watch the other games because it's more interesting if you like don't know the list.
Oh yes.
That's also something that happened in the finals, but yeah. So this deck basically can't do anything against Obstagoon. And this is Sierra's list. It's interesting because I didn't really like I said, I didn't really know what metal would even play, but this is very interesting. Like you have basically just big Pokemon, Metal Goggles, Metagross, and then Santa Lady and all that good stuff. So this deck was pretty cool. I think it also struggles a little bit with consistency. Like especially, I mean, supporter cards that could be in your opening hand. You have Jasmine and Marnie, and that's almost it. So, like my strategy against this will just be, opponent starts Jirachi, I knock it out with a Alolan Meow, and then my opponent maybe gets another Jirachi, and I can knock that out with Persian. Then I'm up to prize cards. I can knock out a fully charged Metagross by using 30 with Obstagoon, Lysander Labs, and then a fully damaged Spiritomb. So I thought against this deck would probably have been fine as well. Like Cyrus Prism, like a good time Cyrus Prism Star could have like threw off the whole strategy. And then the Solgaleo Prism was also pretty good. But I think the like my Alola Meowth would put in so much work in this matchup. And then also there's 3 stadiums. This is very interesting because I don't know if it's just like, oh yeah, the stadiums are pretty good. I mean, Mount Connet is pretty good. Viridian Forest is pretty good. But this is also very good against me because she can, as long as she doesn't, like if she isn't forced to put a Viridian Forest in play like turn 1, then she will always win the Stadium War, so she don't need to worry about the Black Market. And especially with Steven and Metagross, she can, I don't really have expectation to win by Black Market, but I think I can like be fast enough, just take early quick knockouts.
Absolutely. One fun little side note, Sierra played Josh in round 1. Now she lost game 1, it was very, very, very close. Game 2, Josh actually had both Malamar prized, so he was guaranteed to lose game 2. But they were keeping really strictly to the 1 hour time limit, which we had in round 1 and kind of abandoned in round 2 in the final.
Oh, yeah.
And that's basically why she lost. Without the time limit, there's a very good chance Sierra takes round 1 against Josh.
Oh, okay.
But it wasn't to
but
be.
I think this deck would probably not have won against Joe as well.
I don't think it would, unfortunately.
Yeah, because like the Hitmonlee is so strong.
Yeah.
Like, and then you have a lot of like chip damage, put damage everywhere, and then the Stakataka is also so annoying.
Sakataka would have really put in work.
Yeah. All right, so that's this deck. So I think that would have been fine. And for I think it's Pablo, right?
Yes, Pablo's.
This is also quite interesting because there's only one stadium card in play, so that's one of my winning options immediately. Just if Pablo needs to use Thunder Mountain at any point of the game, I basically already win. Like at the moment he plays Thunder Mountains, I win. Because I can, like with Ordinary Rod, I can always like just keep a loop of Umbreons, not infinitely, but long enough that I can run like maybe even my opponent out of resources, or just get in a good enough position to win the game that way. But the deck is also pretty strong. Like I have to use Obstagoon to be to do something against all of this. And then with Electropowered Magnezone, the Magnezone can take a knockout. But then I'm able to take out Magnezone, so yeah, this probably isn't too difficult of a matchup for me as well. But this is one of the decks that I would be afraid to play against. Like I'm kind of happy. Like I don't know. I was like I didn't watch the game with Jack against Pablo. And then when I played against Jack, I was like, oh, why didn't Pablo win? And now I look at Pablo's list and I thought like, yeah, it would have probably also been pretty difficult. Because I thought like, yeah, I asked Jack, like, what did Pablo play? And he said like, yeah, only basic Pokemon, only like Magnezone. And I was like, oh, it would have been the dream. But the Magnezone puts a lot of work and it has one
really does.
which I can knock out, but then like while the Magnezone is in play, you can just charge all the other attackers up. But yeah, running out of energy, I probably would have been better to play against Pablo in the end, but I got kind of lucky against Jack.
Your game against Jack was absolute. Yeah. And anyone who's watching this that hasn't watched the game against Jack, it'll be linked in the description. They really need to go check that out. It's legitimately one of my favourite games of Pokemon I've ever watched in any format. It was phenomenal.
And it took so long because Jack was always like, what do I do? And then one of the reasons why we had problems with time, like why we didn't play with the time rule later, for me, for example, my internet kept cutting me off. So there were like certain parts where like my opponent was finished with their turn, but the call ended. So I had to like get back in the call, like especially against Jack, like I had to like re-dial like 3 or 4 times. I was like, yeah, what happened? I missed your turn because my internet stopped working for that time. Well, that was pretty annoying, but yeah, like the game took very long. We all had to think quite a lot. And yeah, okay. So this deck was like, okay, yeah, Alessandro got water, so there was no Frostmoth. No matter what Alessandro got, I think he would have probably played something like that.
Stefan told me that Alessandro was definitely playing control. No matter what type he picked, he was definitely going control.
But I think Alessandro, if he have gotten Darkness, it would have been very interesting. Like I was looking forward to that actually. But Water is also very nice for control because of the Slowking.
Yeah.
So with Slowking you can do hand control. But he played against Joe round 1, and then I expect this matchup to be very sad because Joe just needs to attack with Hitmon top like twice and then wins by default or something. But this deck is just super cool. But it's like a typical control, like 2 Crushing Hammer, 2 Bryson Man, 2 Pokédoll. And then Chaotic Swell. I mean, it's only 1 stadium, but this deck doesn't want to take price cuts anyway, so who cares about Black Market? Yeah, so this is very cool. I don't know, I would have probably lost, I think.
I don't know, I mean, Joe was very, very confident. They see this was the other game that had to be redone. Joe beat Alessandro, and then Joe's footage just corrupted. So he redid the game, and Joe was like, I feel really confident, because apparently the first game he won quite easily. And then when they did the redo, and what was funny is that Joe had already played his second round against Josh before redoing round 1 against Alessandro. And then he lost game 1 in the redo against Alessandro. And it was just like, if you lose again, we got to redo, because Josh has played a pointless round 2 game. He did pull it out, but it was a lot closer second time round. But like you said, with a gentleman's agreement, Alessandro knew Joe's deck at that point, so he could play around it quite a lot better than he did the first time.
This would have been interesting for me as well, because now we are here anyway, so this is the deck from Joe. And this was such a difficult game, because I didn't know the list. So like game one, I don't know, like if you watch the game, you're probably wondering game one why I was just like going crazy with benching random Pokemon that I don't need. There were two reasons for that. The main reason was actually that I didn't draw any supporter cards. So I had to use, like against Joe, there was one turn where I had to, like, I couldn't attack. I had to use Professor M for like 3 random Pokemon. The next turn I had to use Professor M for 3 random Pokemon as well. And then it was Cynthia, so it was kind of fine in the end. But I thought, I actually thought that there were 2 Carton Boys in the deck. Because especially, I don't know if Joe did that on purpose, but he kind of, like game 1, he played like down Starter Carta and then attached like an energy. And I was like, I do not want to lose against Starter Carta with Beast Knight that just goes like, yeah, Carton Boy, Martial Arts Dojo, knockout. But you always needed something on my bench. The other thing that's problematic against Joe is Oranguru with resource management. Not with resource management, but with profound knowledge. So I thought the matchup would be pretty difficult because I always need to have something on my bench. But Hitmonlee and Hitmontop can always shoot that. So I was like, yeah, I always have to give up like some prize cards, and then if I don't set up very well, then you can just use Statakata to take like a big knockout, and then I'm out of everything. And Statakata has like 2 million HP. I think it has 200.
200 if your opponent's got 3 or fewer prize cards remaining.
Yeah. So I can't even take that out. So if he really plays 2 card more, which I thought they probably did, like the Statakata just runs through me. So I really wanted to like have something against it. Game 1. And then I realized, oh, well, probably he only played, like game 2, I thought he plays 1 Carton Boy, and it was prize game 1. So that was like my, probably that might have been the reason. Then game 2, I was a little bit more, like, I was going a little bit more all in on the Obstagoon. And then he used Oranguru and confused me. I had to retreat, and at some point I think I didn't draw energy cards, so he played that catch ahead on Umbreon to win some time, and it actually worked out because I didn't have energy to retreat. I don't remember if that was game 1 or game 2. So, but I got used to the list, and then game 3 I realized that there's probably actually no counter against me, so all he can do is to shoot on the bench and use Oranguru. So I thought, okay, I will just try, like I will keep an Umbreon in play because I can just like win the game if the Obstagoon somehow gets knocked out. But I would just attach a lot of energy. Yeah, I think the turn where he plays Catcher on Umbreon and flipped heads was actually in game 3. Because I just attach a lot of energies to my Obstagoons. Because I knew, okay, if Oranguru confuses my Obstagoon, if I flip tails, I lose, so I have to retreat. It has to retreat, so I just wanted to be prepared that I can always retreat and attack in the same turn.
You set it up quite nicely. The final was really interesting because you could see your game, you could see your strategy changing throughout the 3 games until like game 3 where you were just like, oh, you know what, I'm just going double Obstagoon. Kind of as you realised the Carton Boy wasn't in there. And I got so many messages from Joe being like, why did I not? Because I knew he didn't play Carton Boy going into the game. Because he'd sent me so many messages being like, if I played Carton Boy, I'm fairly sure I win. Why did I get so greedy? I can't win without Carton Boy.
It was funny because both of us messaged you and said like, I don't think I win.
So you're messaging me going, if he Hitmontops twice, I lose. And Joe's messaging me going, if he gets Obstagoon out, I lose. And you're both just being like, I can't win this game.
Yeah, because I know I can't get all in on Obstagoon because I thought he plays with Martial Arts Dojo. But then while I just deal 90 each turn, he just needs like, Hitmonlee, Hitmontop, does that twice. I don't have any bench Pokemon left, and he draws like 5 prize cards or 4 prize cards. And then Statakata, I can't wanted to knock out that. So just 2 Carton Boys, and then I lose. That was how I thought the game would go. But then, that's why I think like if we had, like if the footage corrupted, then we would have been pretty sad because then I knew, okay, I will definitely win this. So.
It's break the footage, redo the final, and you just smash Joe because he's got no Carton Boy.
Yeah, so that was that game. Like I played, like from an outsider perspective, I played pretty bad the first 2 games because, like I said, I expected my opponent to play Carton Boy, and also like game 1 especially, I didn't draw very well. I even like game 1, I think I benched like a randomly I had Darkrai with 2 energy in hand, but only 2 energy, so I couldn't even attack the third one, and then I never attacked with it. Yeah, so it was pretty fun. And then Oranguru and Catcher and oh man, like double heads on Catcher, he can take a knockout on obstacle. But
given how bad a matchup Joe had, he played the final really, really strongly. Yeah. Considering he basically couldn't win, he did play it very, very well.
Like a double heads on Catcher is like what I was afraid of last game. I was like, okay, he has no counter. Like his winning option is just flipping with Oranguru. But yeah, this deck is pretty cool. Like, depending on what you think, like he probably thought that I would like. I mean, it's quite unlikely, and there's an argument to just take like a loss against one deck to have a very strong chance against the other decks, and the fighting is the strongest type, I think, anyways. But yeah. So yeah, then like round 1, I played against Toby, and his decklist had a lot of problems. I mean, Chaotic Swell, like I think from the recorded games, like game 1, I just used Rosa to get rid of the 2 Chaotic Swells because he had to like play down one because he had research. And he played down a second one at some point. I don't know why, maybe he was just trying to thin out or he forgot about the black market. And then I knew immediately, okay, now I basically already won. Actually, I forgot the weakness from obstacle in that game. It didn't matter. But I'm so used that all like fighting Darkness Pokemon always had fighting weakness,
for like a decade.
And Spiritomb or like flying Pokemon, but that's always the case. And now they're weak to grass. Yeah,
I forgot that too. Don't worry. But there was that one game where you dropped Black Market Prism Star, and I was like, yeah, there's literally nothing Toby can do. Oh, the only thing he can do is just knock out every Pokemon until you run out of energy, and then Black Market doesn't work. But it was just never going to happen.
Yeah, so what I didn't like about this deck was the Source Bug. I don't think it's too... Like, I mean, the attack is pretty nice and the ability is good. But I think in this meta game with the rules to only be limited to 2 Offs, I would have probably just not played it and focused more on... Yeah, there's only 1 Ordinary Rod in the deck. I would have definitely played 2. And then just a lot more energy cards. Then just go all in on Snorlax and Heracross. And then Shaman Prism Star can always just take a big prize card. Rillaboom has 170 HP. It's pretty much impossible to take one knockout on that for, I think, most decks. So just like getting a little bit more all in and just have more energy would have probably been, yeah, the better way to run this. Like this has, like you have a lot of options. Like you can take one knockout with Source Spark by bouncing, and then if it's in play, you draw a lot. Yeah, but I think like playing Rosa and Rare Candies and then just more energy and more ways to get energy back. I would have played that way, I think.
I mean, the Rillaboom worked nicely and he kept getting it into play. It was just, he never seemed to have kind of the big attackers he needed to really start kind of taking enough prizes to win.
Yeah, and then especially like against me, for example, he was able to get like one big turn with Shaman Prism Star, which I was like, what? Where did that come from? Drew like everything he needed for that. But like your opponent knocks out 2 of your attackers, and then this deck is already out of energy cards because both Rillaboom and Snorlax need 4 energy. So you have 3 energy left, and then the 2 from Ordinary Rod that you can get, so you have 5 left. You take 3 times, you lose, always by default. Yeah, I think you just needed a lot more cards to get energy cards back. It was already consistent enough, I think. Like he played so much consistency, I think most than others. But it was a little bit overkill, I think. I mean, especially like playing greens in a deck like this, where you have so many abilities. It's just like, yeah, I just want turn 1 to get my cards down, so just go for greens instead of Rosa. I had a lot of games where I started Rosa and was like, oh yeah, it's a good card in theory, but not now.
Nope.
So yeah, probably no Source Spark, more stuff to get energy back. Otherwise the deck was pretty cool. And this deck, so actually this is not the real list.
I have had a message from Jack saying he's going to send me the list, but he hasn't actually sent me the list.
Yeah, too bad. But it's almost this. I don't know the counts actually, but I definitely know there were 2 giant halls. but I don't know what he cut for it. But yeah, let's just keep that in mind that there are 2 giant hearts and one of the other cards is different. I don't know which one. Yeah. Anyways, this is such a cool deck. This should have won, I think. it's it's really nice. Like you have a lot of consistency because of the poker gear. There are a lot of support. Like there are enough supporter cards in general. Then Cynthia Catlin and Welder have a good synergy because you can use 4 Welders in theory. And then Cinderace gets the energy from the discard pile anyways. And then Arcanine is pretty good because it can deal a lot of damage. Like it can deal 160 or 190 or something like
190.
this. Yeah, 190. So an Arcanine is like a stage 2. The first attack is super strong, gets your energy back. And then the second attack just takes a wallet knockout on everything. And then on top of that you have Cinderace, which has a lot of HP and also deals a huge amount of damage.
Also 190.
Yeah, so if this deck sets up, like there's almost nothing that you can really do against it. I mean, the fighting deck can completely destroy your setup pretty fast. And also with Tatakata, do something against it. So, like, yeah. I think Joe said to me that he was kind of sad that they didn't have the Omnipoke finals.
Well, it would if you'd lost to Jack, it would literally have been an all Omnipoke final.
Yeah, exactly. And then I would have looked forward to watch that game. Yeah, but this deck is really strong. And also, like, the Giant Heart this is something that was actually a little bit of a problem for Jack, I think, because to set up, often you need Giant Hearts just to have enough energy in play. But then he was the first person who had to play a Stadium card, and then I could get rid of that. And then, like, I think in 2 games, he had to use 1 Hearth and 1 Heat Factory. And then I played, I did this twice, where he played 1 Hearth and then 1 Heat Factory. I kicked the Heat Factory for Black Market and play Reset Stamp. And then the first time I did this, he just drew the Giant Heart, and I think the second time it was prized. Or something like this. Or no, I think it wasn't prized. I thought it was prized when I played against him, but it was like just on the very bottom of the deck, so he didn't get into it. So that was kind of what my winning option was. That just hope he doesn't get the Giant Heart, and then with just getting early, like a lot of Meowth going. I think one game he even started with Volcania, which made me very sad. But otherwise, it's like, yeah.
Jack's deck was the other one. When I was kind of helping my friends test for the Professor Cup, this was the other deck. I played a load of your deck, and I played a load of Jack's deck. Mm-hmm. And Jack's deck as well. It's the first couple turns where you're a little bit vulnerable, but you generally get like a turn 2 Arcanine, hitting for 120 while accelerating energy, and then you get your Cinderace and your bigger Arcanine, and it's just so... Like, the HP is gigantic. You got 140 and 170, and you're pretty much one-hit KOing whatever your opponent's throwing at you. And it's just, you've got to take it down early doors, or else it's so devastating a deck.
Yeah, so that was like it from the tournament side. The format itself, I mean, like fighting and darkness were super annoying types. I would probably just ban Prism Stars because like Black Market is just Black Market is annoying. And then for the which was it? Like for the fighting deck, Diancie is so strong. It gives you such an edge against everything else, I think.
I'm salty at Joe because he got fighting and didn't play Excadrill.
Oh.
Love Excadrill.
But this deck is pretty good. Like, I mean, basic Pokemon always have this special, consistency bonus anyways. Yeah, so I think without Prism Stars, like, you could think about banning, some people I talked about were like, not banning Obstagoon is weird, but then on the other hand, you can play 2 Obstagoons, and then there's so much you can do against it anyways. But I would probably just ban Prism Stars, and form should be fine. Pretty interesting.
We did talk about banning Prism Stars, but we figured that like every type has good Prism Stars.
Yeah.
So we thought it spiced things up a little bit. I think in the future, when we do this again, we probably will ban Prism Stars.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you don't know. And I didn't expect you to just like kind of like test the tournament before. I don't really know, like Water has, yeah, if you would have played like if you would have played Frostmoth, then you would have had the Volcanion Prism Star, which is really, really strong.
Really strong.
Yeah, so yeah, Alessandro is just being Alessandro, I guess.
My messages with Joe, who's like, I've drawn against Alessandro, he's playing Water. He's like, I'm really worried about Volcanion Prism Star. He's like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to deal with that. And then I get Alessandro's list and I look at it and I'm just like, Joe's all right.
Yeah, you don't need to worry about that. Okay, yeah, so that's
Well, thank you for that, David. So that's the tournament. Now, I hear that Dragon Shield have sent you a lovely parcel full of goodies.
Yeah, I didn't even know there was prize support. Like, I didn't really like what I liked most about the tournament was just chatting with people, like talking with people, and having this like a webcam. Like, I mean, PTCGO is just the same as always, right? But just chatting with your opponents. I had a lot of fun with all of my opponents. Like when I played against Toby, I talked about him, like about his plays, and there was like one turn where he was like, "Oh, what do you put active now?" And I'm like, "Yeah, shame there's no retreat cost, right? So just take that one." That's pretty funny. And then against Jake, we were like talking about like how to play the matchup, why we were playing the matchup. And against Joe, we just did like some completely random banter. And the game against Joe was also in the middle of the night, and it took us like 1 hour just to get like webcams and stuff working because my Discord doesn't work. And then we tried something else. And then we actually went for Skype. I had to make an account. And then Skype on his side didn't work. So it was really annoying. And it was like in the middle of the night and we were just like, yeah, let's just play this.
Oh, that's wonderful. And
okay,
the whole point was we only invited cool people that we wanted to take part in the tournament. The theory was kind of
people that you were like sure that they could use a webcam and record everything.
That was also a pretty big requirement. They had to have a webcam, be able to record it.
Yeah,
Because we were like you know. I mean, we all love PTCGO. We all play it regularly, but there's something cool about having like actual physical cards.
Yeah, so I got a pretty big box. Like I said, I didn't know there was price support. But
for the record, we told him there was price support.
Yeah, I don't know. I was pretty good. I was pretty happy with the sleeves I got. Even though black on black, it was like the price cards became a little bit invisible, I think. I haven't opened this yet. Yeah, so live open. I never recorded an opening video, I think.
That's all right.
Don't you sometimes do like pack openings?
I do pack openings sometimes. Yeah. Pack openings for me are always weird. I don't really fully understand doing pack opening videos, but people quite like it when I do them. So, but also like there are some channels that only do pack opening videos, and I'm like, how do you afford to run this channel?
Yeah, only pack opening is something I find interesting too. Like, I don't watch it, but it's cool that there is so much. Okay, so
oh, did they send you a little letter?
Yeah, I was just checking if it has my address on it. It doesn't, so I got like a
little certificate. Oh,
cool. I don't know how it's called in English. In German, it's Urkunde.
It's called a certificate.
Oh yeah, that's pretty cool.
You can frame it and put it on your wall so everyone knows.
The best one, if you want to win, then you need the black one. So, first of all, there's a binder.
I think you need to open up the binder.
Yeah, sure.
I think there might be something in the binder. Or I've been lied to.
No, I'm getting instructions how to what to do with my prize. Okay, so oh, interesting. Okay, I got a piece of paper. Now there's actually a Zacian V in here.
Go Zacian. Dragon Shield were like, we want to put like a card in the front of the binder. What's the money card? And we were like, Go Zacian. But that is definitely the one to go for.
Yeah, I know. I think I know what we can do with that. So, and yeah, before like there's something else. This is probably just because of the packaging.
I think that is just part of the packaging. I wasn't told there are any other. Oh, they've just put one of each colour sleeve
one
in.
of each color.
That's quite cool.
Black one too, yeah.
And then Asian in the middle.
It has like a... Yeah, I'm not a professional opener, but it has this rubber band, and it's made of probably, how's it called? Kunstleder. Like leather-ish.
Yeah, kind of like faux leather. They're very, very cool. They sent me one of those. I was quite delighted.
Oh yeah, I didn't
They're
even know.
kind of like spongy.
Yeah, true. Okay, the second thing is a box. It's...
So that's like a binder you add pages to, I believe.
I'll check. Yeah, it's one of those where you can put pages in.
And is that the same dragon as you had on your playmat?
It is, yeah. I think
nice.
It's the... Now, this might be the purple one, actually. But it looks black. Yeah, it's one of those standard...
Nice.
Art, like, binder things.
Cool.
I remember when they had these, like, when they handed these at tournaments.
They did. They used to have like official I have so many of them. I've got like a big plastic box right there in my room that's got like 6 of them just filled with binder pages of like Diamond and Pearl and Heart Gold Soul Silver era cards. Back when I used to buy way more cards than I do nowadays.
Yeah, and these are, it says perfect fit. Ah, yeah, these are pretty good. So I actually use these for most of my cards, but from...
Can you hold them up to the camera quickly?
Oh yeah, sure, here. Like, this is the packaging.
Oh, so literally they are just like perfect fits. Oh, nice. So they're basically you perfect fit the cards and then put them in regular sleeves.
Yeah, like I just... Like, I have my unlimited cards in this box. And most of them are not in sleeves, but all the foil ones are in like perfect fit sleeves. Like, I have like Shaman X.
Yes.
They're just mixed with cards that are not in sleeves at all. But if you use like full size sleeves, it's kind of annoying because like when you like look at them like this, they are a lot bigger. But with the perfect fit sleeves, they're almost the same size. So if you like mix foil cards on your like book, in your book, then you can, yeah, that's why I like the perfect fits in general.
I think you are like the genuine leading expert on the unlimited format. I don't think there is anyone that knows more about it than you do.
I'm one of the few people that actually play it because it's well, it's not so much fun to actually play a game, but
no, the deck building is fun.
Exactly, yeah, that's why I want to think about it. And then the last thing in here is pretty difficult to get out. Yeah, there's probably a way to open this. It looks like... Oh, wait a second. I think like this.
Oh, is that not just a lot of sleeves?
No.
Oh, I don't know. I did not get one of those, and I do not know what that is. I'm a little bit excited now. I should point out, I didn't know I was getting it, but I did get a lovely box of Dragon Shield stuff, a whole bunch of sleeves, some deck boxes, lovely playmat. No Goldzation in my folder, unfortunately. But then again, I didn't win the tournament, so I don't think I really earned one.
Yeah, I will just cut this off.
I got like a random message from Stefan just being like, hey, Wossy, what's your favourite colour? I'm like, orange. He's like, all right. And then like about a week later, I just get this box full. And my wife walks into the kitchen and there's just trading card game sleeves and stuff just scattered everywhere. Which, to be fair, is not that unusual in my house. Oh, my word.
It's like a... I don't know.
Like the world's biggest deck box.
Yeah, I was... So... Oh, yeah, I did a lot of sleeves.
And does it not open up into a playmat? Like, the thing you're peeling off now, I think, is literally, like, can be used as a playmat. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, that's a lot better, I think. So this is a box. It has a magnetic strip. Or like, this is magnetic. And you open it up, and then there is
a lot of sleeves.
Space for your box. Yeah, there are a lot of sleeves. It's pretty cool. And
13 packs of... Lucky 13.
This. And there is no, like... Yeah, I don't know how it's called in English. But
there's no lid. It's just a tray with like a... It's like the playmat wraps around it.
I would check it, actually. So, yeah, it has nothing in it.
Well, so if you don't have a playmat with you, it's actually super, super convenient. 'Cause you literally, like, you unwrap it and the box turns into a playmat.
I would actually, wait a second. Okay, anyway, so this is the sleeve of the box. But I think it's bigger than a playmat. Let me check.
That is one gigantic box. As a side note, these products are amazing for living card games. Like, the bigger ones of these for living card games are so good.
It's actually almost the size of a playmat.
That is pretty close. That's pretty gosh darn close.
So this is a playmat I got from you. So.
Yeah, they were the ones you were using in the games. Yeah, but all the players were quite impressed. They were like, oh, we said we'd take part in this tournament and we got like a deck box and a playmat and a whole bunch of sleeves just sent to us because...
I think I didn't read all the info you sent us because I didn't remember you telling us that we should use it. But I just thought, like, yeah, probably we should. But this is not, like, this doesn't have, like, a leather texture. It is just, I don't know how to describe it. I think they probably have, let me check. Probably have a way to describe it themselves.
Quite possibly. I tell you what, I'm blanking on this one as well. I can tell you I played a game of Marvel Champions on it the other day and it was quite cool.
Yeah, so this is the Magic Carpet XL, the double deck box and playmat, yeah.
That is like full on gigantic.
Okay, so they call it Dragon Skin Exterior, Satin Lined Interior. And I don't know what that means, but you can probably edit something in.
Satin is just kind of like a nice, soft, kind of pleasant material.
Yeah.
It's quite nice for playing games on, I'll tell you that.
100% limited to Pokemon cards. I don't know any name for anything else.
I'm fluent in English as long as we're talking Pokemon cards.
Yeah, like, I don't know any food name or something like this. Or, like, material names, but I know Pokemon, I think.
Yeah, but you saw me trying to buy bread in a German shop, so
yeah,
that did not go well.
You just have to say, eine Brezel bitte.
All I know is I'm glad you were there because it was not going well.
And yeah, I can actually use this for unlimited. So currently, yeah, I will see. I have like one, you know, these official Pokemon Center boxes.
Yes.
Yeah, I have one of those. Currently just to put all my limited decks in, but this is pretty nice. Well, actually, I will check how many decks. That's probably interesting, right? Like,
it fits 14 boxes.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
And those boxes are 100 sleeves, which is you can pretty much fit a 60 card sleeve deck in those boxes. So you can basically fit 14 decks sleeved in one of those. Yeah,
so when you play, like, I have a lot of old formats, like 2006 decks, like decks from 2006.
Yeah.
And that's all just in random shoe cartons.
Oh man! In my history videos at the moment, I've just gotten to like I'm doing, what's the last one we did? EX Deoxys. So I've gotten to like 2005, and it's I'm so sad I didn't properly play that format. That was very, very cool.
Yeah, like me too. I only started playing 2009, and everything before that was just like what people told me, like, you know, the stories of the players that when I started playing, who were already playing for like multiple years.
Yeah.
And then they tell you, okay.
So, the last question for the video, David. The last question for the video. Stefan and I are currently in the process of putting together a sequel to the Dragon Gym Challenge. You'll be pleased to know we are going to ban Prism Stars this time.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Are you in?
Yeah, sure. Like, I would have time. I mean, the good thing about this, I'm running the Limitless qualifiers, which are very stressful because you have like limited time, so it's like a real tournament. But this is very nice because you don't have you can ask your opponent when are you free, and then you play when you have time.
The plan is to do it after the Limitless tournaments because we was like the last one we did the last one before you guys kicked off, and then the next one will be after you guys are done because we don't want to coincide.
Yeah, like also, yours was already planned, I think. I think yours was completely planned when we were still thinking about even doing it or not.
See, at the moment, with the lockdown going on, everyone's doing these online tournaments, which are awesome, and I'm all in favour. We were planning this before the lockdown all kicked in.
Yeah,
this was happening anyway. And then initially it was so much planning and little details to work out. And then the lockdown happened and everyone started doing these online tournaments and we were like, no, we got here first.
Nah, it's pretty good. Like for me, it was very nice just to talk with people again. So, yeah.
It's a very friendly tournament. Right, well, thank you very much for that, David. Thank you for talking us through your deck and the other deck, showing us the quite swanky swag from Dragon Shield. And I am actually going to add a little bit onto the end of this video and tell you how you, lovely ladies and gentlemen watching, can take part. We're not going to tell you yet. I think we've got the lineup of 7 people confirmed. We've actually left a space for someone else. So I'm going to cut to me in a second to tell you how to take part.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much for organizing.
Bye, David.
See you.
And another lovely thanks to David for taking part, for being awesome, and of course, for winning and being a champion. So, and also, right, you saw how well he did, how great his deck was, and how well he played. And if you haven't seen that, all the rounds are linked in the description. Do go check it out. David didn't even know there were prizes on the line, and he did that well. But I told you there was something cool coming at the end of the video, and there is. You see, Stefan and I are planning a sequel. I told you that. I told you David's taken part. Now, we're only actually looking to invite 7 casters, commentators, YouTubers, call it what you will, to this particular event. Because you see, I had a lot of messages from people going, this would be cool, I'd love to take part in this. Well, now you can. Here's the deal. The lovely Stefan Eriksson, and he is going to be spearheading the hunt, as it were. He set up an email address, dragongymchallenge@gmail.com. And if you want to take part in this next time, all you need to do is send an email to dragongymchallenge@gmail.com with a 30-second video where you tell us why you should be included. And Stefan is going to pick 8 of you lovely ladies and gentlemen, and you are going to enter a single elimination PTCGO tournament using the rules of the Dragon Gym Challenge. Although, quick side note, we will be banning Prism Stars next time. Other than that, the rules are going to be the same. How do you take part? You email a 30-second video of you saying why you should take part to Stefan at dragongymchallenge@gmail.com. Feel free to hit me up on Twitter asking how to take part, but there's not much point emailing or tweeting at me. Stefan is handling it through that particular email. What do you need to have in order to take part? Basically, it's nice and simple. You need to be able to take part in the PTCGO qualifier if picked, and that will be happening on June the 28th at 1 o'clock CEST. Feel free to Google it to convert it to your own time zone. Stefan's going to be running that. It is slightly more convenient for European players. I'm sorry, but Stefan needs to be able to moderate and run that tournament, and he is in the Netherlands. Hopefully that's not going to exclude too many of you. Other than that, you just need to be able to record your game. Now, by recording the game, we mean you have a webcam, you hold it here and you point it down at a mat of cards. You need to have the physical cards and a webcam that points down. That's basically it. Now, you need to be able to use Discord, but if you've got a computer and a webcam, you've got Discord. If you don't have a Discord, can you please sign up for one? Because that's how the communication is largely going to be handled. The only other thing is, if you are a sponsored player, cool. But it is run, not sponsored by, but run by myself, Stefan, and Dragon Shield. So clearly, if you've got a sponsorship conflict that would mean you cannot be in a tournament run by Dragon Shield, sorry. But if you are selected as the 8th member, if you get into the PTCGO tournament and win, yes, you will get the swag pack just like the rest of the competitors, and yes, you will be in with a chance, along with the other 7, to go and win a box which is going to be comparable to the ridiculous box David just opened in this very video. Nice and simple. So, be available for PTCGO on the 28th of June, which is just over a month from when this happens. Be able to record a game with physical cards top down, and not have any kind of sponsorship issue. Other than that, you're good to go, ladies and gentlemen. You're good to go. And I want you all to go. I want you all to take part. So go and record a 30-second video, email it to dragongymchallenge@gmail.com, and we are going to get rolling. I'm a little bit excited, and you should be a little bit excited too. So there we go. Email, join in. Thanks to David, thanks to Stefan, thanks to Dragon Shield and TCG Player and everybody else for supporting us and making this happen. And of course, we are coming back. So I've done all the rounds. We've done our roundup video with David now. That's this one. But bear in mind, this is coming back, and it's going to be coming back in a couple of months. And you should be excited, because I think the next one's going to be even better. Seriously, I had a chat with Stefan and Dragon Shield the other day, and we basically worked through as a group how to make sure the next one is better. And I assure you, the next one is going to be better. For now, ladies and gentlemen, look after yourselves till next time, and email that address with a 30-second video. We want to hear from you. Thank you very much for watching, and I really hope to be watching all of your videos, because that sounds like fun, although Stefan will be making the decision. Thank you very much for watching. I really hope you join in. Bye!